Good afternoon. This is Michelle Renee of Education Nation. Thank you for listening and welcome to the Female Solutions Global Network.
Women have the power to transform this world. We can end crime and violence if we all agree to do one thing: share. Let's share our wisdom, share our time, share our talents, share our finances, but most of all, let's share our love. This is the Female Solution.
Thank you for joining us today. The goal of this podcast is to raise awareness about the decline of literacy and examine solutions to the decline. Today, I look forward to talking to Tameka who Holcomb, who now lives in Botswana, Africa, where she's making an impact on families with special needs children. And my other guest is Cecilia Cerenje, head of Rise Christian Academy in Gobanzo, Zimbabwe in Africa. The topic for this episode is Voices from the Motherland. The interview is recorded, so I'm going to play it in a minute. What is literacy? Literacy is the ability to identify, understand, interpret, create, and communicate using written, verbal, and visual materials across contexts beyond basic reading and writing. The continuum of learning enables individuals to achieve goals, develop their potential, and participate fully in society. Illiteracy is the inability to go beyond surface thinking. It is a lack of higher order thinking skills that are necessary for critical thinking and making inferences and drawing conclusions. Higher order thinking that is necessary in literacy in order for you to make inferences. In illiteracy, it does not exist. Now, what is parent involvement and why is it important for academic success? Parent involvement is the active, ongoing participation of a parent or a primary caregiver in the education of a child. Examples of parent involvement in schools include reading with your children, helping with homework, discussing school events, attending school functions, including parent meetings and volunteering in classrooms. My education partner and I, Aquila Grays, will tell you now in a video, a pre-recorded video about parenting styles. What is your parenting style? Show this clip. Education Nation. This is my education partner, y'all. Y'all gonna see her face a lot. Eventually, she's gonna be on every week. We're starting small. So the question for today is how can understanding parenting styles help increase literacy? So parenting styles affect the very architecture of a child's brain, influencing their stress levels, social emotional development, and the ability to handle challenges. What do you think?
Um, yes, we know, that social emotional, any aspect of social emotional will impact us. And with parents, it's just as critical with our parents as it is with our children.
Mm-hmm.
So, and I think as parents, yeah, our plates are so full because for us, it's more than just the education of our children. We have to be providers. We have to, we carry and we wear a lot of different hats. And
Mm-hmm.
so when I think about parenting and its impact on our children, literacy, it brings to mind parenting styles.
Yeah,
Kind of style works best for your child or children. And one style may work with one child and not work with the other.
that's
And so
true.
and so there are a myriad of parenting styles that's there.
Mm-hmm.
And um, there are three that particularly resonates for me.
Okay,
Before we complete our session, I'd like to tap into that.
awesome. So, in my opinion, authoritative parenting balanced with warmth and rules is linked to higher self-esteem and a
Mm,
better academic performance,
hmm
while stricter parenting with no warmth, that's cold, it's a colder style, can lead to anxiety, depression, or
Depression.
behavior problems in children.
Yes. And so what again too with that, definitely whether or not you're an authoritative, have an authoritative parenting style, I think one of the better styles to go along with to pair that with would be situational
Yes.
parenting.
Mm-hmm.
That particular style of parenting
Mm-hmm.
um, really covers the gamut because
Because it makes you have to adjust,
you can
adjust to who
adjust.
your child is, and adjust to your environment and the situation that you're dealing with.
And with that situational piece, you really, you got all these styles, particular parenting styles right there within the situational piece,
Yes.
because today you may need to be an authoritative parent,
In
whereas
situations.
tomorrow
In situations.
in situations, but then
Mm-hmm.
you may come back tomorrow, and then there's another situation. You may need to be more transformational,
Yes.
that type of parenting style, that
Mm-hmm.
you have a child that you know that if you can transform their way of thinking, that you have created something that's completely awesome. So being able to inspire
Yeah.
and to get our children to really to begin to love the idea
Mm-hmm.
of of learning, of reading. It comes with
Yes.
transformation. And so
Yes.
having that particular style of parenting is also imperative. You want to
Yes.
have
Yes. Yes.
that on
And
the
so
table.
then understanding parenting styles helps a parent recognize if they're acting out of habit,
Hmm
or if they're reacting to an emotion rather than um instead of allowing themselves to align their actions with whatever the desired outcome is, and the values that they have as a parent.
hmm
Parenting
And
styles brings about self-awareness for the
hmm
parent, so that they can in turn bring about self-awareness for the
for
child.
for the child. Yeah, and then two, once we look at also who are we being in terms of our interpersonal style with our children, you
Mm-hmm.
know. And again, it's going to differentiate according to one child from the next. But building relationships is just
Mm-hmm.
as important because it's going to dictate
It
how
is.
effective you are with
Yeah.
whatever style
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
parenting
Mm-hmm.
use.
Yep, yep. So when a parent understands their parenting style, they're better able to regulate their own behavior and the behavior of their children. They
Yeah.
know their approach. They know how it enables them to become a better guide for the child's emotions.
Mhm.
They're able to better improve the social competence of themselves and their children, and they're
Mhm.
better able to cultivate relationships at home, so that
Mhm.
their child can cultivate good relationships with their peers and at school.
And then too, I think being that the parent is in a lot of sense the final call, that parent should have the final say over as to what is most effective with their child in terms of how to's. That's why your relationship, your connection with your child says it all, because then that gives you an inside track on which style actually is the proper style.
Yeah.
You know, and again, one style is not going to work for every child.
It
It's not
will
a
not. It will not.
situation.
It just helps keep everybody balanced, everybody regulated. So
Yeah.
get our book. It's coming soon. Trust
Yeah.
the process. Parental safeguards. It will help you identify your parenting style and help improve how you interact with your children to ensure high quality homes for best
Yeah.
academics. It's
That's
coming
right.
soon at urbaneducoach.com.
And let me add to that is that it's about love.
It is
It's
about
about
love.
us transferring and creating what we had when we were
Yes.
students and children in
And
school.
discipline.
That love,
And
right?
discipline does
Discipline
not mean beating. Di-
and training, because
that's
discipline
what
and
it
training are
means.
two
Yes.
different aspects,
Yes.
and they are
Yes.
all what you want to make sure that you've incorporated into your parenting style.
Okay.
So that's about it right
Okay.
there.
All right. Good morning, good evening, wherever you are in the world. My name is Michelle Renee, host of Education Nation. I have with me Cecilia. Before I play that clip, I want to introduce my sister from Botswana, Africa, Tameka Holcomb, and my sister educator, Cecilia Cerenje from Botswana, Africa. Their internet is a little unstable, so we had to pre-record their interview. So it's coming up now. Listen and take notes. To 6 languages. Renje, and forgive me if I butchered your name. I don't mean to. It's my American and Southern dialect. And Tameka Holcomb, she now resides in Botswana. Good afternoon or good morning, ladies. Good evening to you all. Because what time is it there?
It's
Where you
after
are?
4 o'clock here.
Okay,
Yes.
so you are on the same timeline. Am I correct?
Yes,
Okay.
ma'am.
Fantastic. It is so wonderful to see you and to hear your voices, and we must talk more at another time without our conversation being recorded. So,
Yes, ma'am.
Tameka, tell me why you are there and what do you do there in Botswana?
Okay. So my name is Tameka Holcomb. If you are in Botswana, I am known as Boitumelo. I was given that name shortly after my family and I relocated here. We started our journey on the African continent back in the end of 2022 when we visited Goromanzi, Zimbabwe with you, Ima, and Brother Stevie and Sister Yvette, a whole host of team members who were coming to scout out the land and see how we could be used by the Father. It was during that excursion that we realized the need for opening up a school in Goromanzi at Chifumbi Farms, where when we had our parent meeting, hundreds of parents, as you know, showed up. It was absolutely
amazing.
Yeah, it was. It was. Remember the dolly, what's the truck called? The flatbed truck where the people just piled off the back of it.
Oh man.
Oh my gosh.
I'm crying about it right now. That was an amazing experience to see so many parents interested in making sure that their children were educated. They just came from everywhere. They were flooding out and they were walking in from long ways, coming in on on the back of that truck. That was an amazing. I wouldn't trade that experience for anything.
Yes, ma'am.
But now I
Absolutely.
see, upon talking to you all, now I see why there was such a need. I understand
Yes,
that.
yes,
I didn't really
yes.
understand that
And
at that time, but knowing how the language acquisition, the process of learning happens, I do understand
yes,
why so many parents were excited about it.
yes, yes. And so here's the thing. After that, of course, we had to get staff, right? And I was blessed very early on in the process to meet teacher Cecilia, Cecilia, how far away did you come from? I think her home village was like hours away as well.
Mhm.
And she'll
Yeah.
speak to that in a moment. Go ahead, Cecilia, sorry.
Okay. Yes, I come from Guruwe. That's Mashonaland Central. So that would take me about 2 to 3 hours, I guess, to get here.
Oh, okay. So
Yeah.
you came a long way to teach at that
Yeah.
school. That's
Yes.
exciting. So I want to know, why did you choose to come so far, and why did you stay?
Okay. Thank you so much. Uh, my name is Cecilia Cerenje. That's actually
Cerenje.
that's the how I pronounce it. Yes, Cerenje. Okay. So when I went for the interview, Melody, the one who interviewed me, told me the vision of the school. And me having grown up at a farm settlement, that's a community that's more like the one where I currently am, I understood the importance of the school to the
Mhm.
community, because I also went to school long distances. So I understood the importance of having a school close by for the learners and also for the parents. So when I came to join the team, it was really an amazing experience for me, seeing that there were a lot of learners. Some were young and some were older who had dropped out of school, and it was so heartwarming. So when I joined the team, I made sure, I told myself, I remember when I actually, after the interview, I called my mom, telling her that, Mama, do you remember you once told me about your dream when you were pregnant with me? And she was like, huh? What do you mean? And I was like, you remember, I'm going to share this dream. Actually, I'm going to share the story. So when my mom told me that when she was pregnant with me, she prayed that she wanted a baby girl. And one day she had a dream. She was in a store. Actually, she was more like shopping for babies. And she chose a baby girl. And she was told in a dream that your daughter is going to be called Tabitha. She's going to help the disadvantaged.
Wow.
And
Yeah.
so as so when I went for the interview, I was like, wow. So after the interview, then I had to call Mama and tell her that, Mama, that dream is coming
Yeah.
true now. It seems like
Wow.
the Lord has now opened the way for me to fulfill his will.
Yeah.
So
Okay.
I came with that thought in me and with that determination that we are going to make this happen and we're going to make it a success. So yeah, that's what kept me here, because I remember when we started, by the end of 2023, some of my colleagues resigned and everything, but
Yeah.
I had come
Wow.
here to stay and I want to see this vision coming true.
Wow.
Yes.
And Tameka, you had kind of a vision almost the same,
Yeah.
very similar. Tell us about
Yeah.
that. It's interesting that you both had a vision.
Yeah.
Your mom had the vision, and then Tameka, you had that vision. So if you can tell us
Yes.
about what brought you there in the first place.
So for me, it was a dream that Abba, the father, had given me at the age of 15, that I would come over to Africa and open up a school. And it's one of those things that I learned, Ima, as we've talked in the past about Habakkuk 2:2, write the vision. Though it tarries, it's going to come. So the
Mm-hmm.
scripture tells you to wait on it. Because imagine feeling like you were supposed to do something from 15 on, but when I finally got to Africa, I was 50, you
Wow.
know, But the thing that I realized in that process is I couldn't have come earlier because I was only one part of the puzzle. Cecilia, the father knew, Abba knew that he was sending me over to sow the seed, but he also knew that Cecilia and Melody were there to water it, to cultivate it, to nurture it, to watch it grow.
Wow.
But because of the age difference, had I came over at 20 or 30, they were still little. And so it shows you that we're not individual in the dreams and the assignments that the Father gives us, that they're interlinked. And what I've always said to people is, imagine being pregnant with a dream for 35 years. And then in less than 6 months, you give birth to it and you see it come to fruition. And just like that, you're having to leave your baby with somebody else. Because that's literally what happened. After 6 months, the father said, okay, it's time for you to go. You did your part. I'm so grateful that as I sit here 3 years later, I can honestly say, thanks to the Father sending people like Cecilia and Mello and Sandy and Wellborn and Richard, that they took what the Father gave me and said, go on, keep doing what, the Father's having you do. We've got this here. And to me, sis, we've been in education for a long time, and I've seen passionate teachers in America, and I've seen passionate, determined parents in America, but the level that I see here on the continent, oh my gosh.
And
because
again,
whether you're talking about somebody like Cecilia, who, when we ran into really troubled times and weren't getting funding in like we thought we were, and she said, yes, you can cut my pay, but I'm not going anywhere. When she, when there were times that the money just was coming real slow and it didn't come when it was supposed to. She said, Sister Tameka, you don't have to worry about me. These are our babies. We're not going anywhere. That level of love and dedication for a whole generation of children. We had parents who were willing to bring things from their homes to make sure that the school kept going. We had parents who were, all of our employees outside of Cecilia became parents in the community who saw what it was we were doing and said, no, we're not going to let you do this by yourself. So that's the thing that I'm grateful for, is the community.
So we stopped at the involvement of parents. Tameka, you want to pick that up?
Yes, ma'am. So I just have to say, the parents, whether the ones who dropped their children off or the ones like Cecilia who came to work, are really what made it easier for me in transitioning from America to the continent. Because again, the love, the compassion, the absolute dedication that they have, that I saw for making sure children get a quality education. And see, for me, when you say quality education in the West, you think of the best classroom, state-of-the-art, the newest book, all of those things. And when I looked around, when I got over here, in the villages, you don't see that. But you see a passion. Oh my gosh. The way there's this fire inside of teachers here that say, no, you have to learn. They understand that it is truly the difference maker in the lives of their children, of their students. And the teachers take ownership on a whole different level. And even the parents who, as you know, Ima, when we came, you're talking about parents who work on a farm making 50, 60 USD. So for them, and that's per month. So for them, they
what
understand.
What is 50 or 60 USD? Is that $50 a month?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes.
Right, Cecilia? $50, $60
Yes,
a month.
please.
And that's working in the sun all day, back-breaking type work, working on in the wheat farms, tobacco farms, potato farms. So there's this commitment that says, I understand that education is truly that thing that's going to give my child a level up. And so that's that commitment that I love. I love seeing it over here.
And I witnessed that because when you first started, we were all there, and you put out into the community that there was going to be a school in the area, and there was Americans there, and they were going to start a school, and we wanted to know what the parents needed, what the parents thought of it. Man, I'm telling you, those parents came from everywhere. The room was full of parents. They were coming in on those trucks. I don't know what you call those trucks. They was standing on the back of those trucks and being dropped off. And then the truck went to get more parents, and they were walking. They came from everywhere. And they didn't have smiles on their faces, but they came with respect and gratitude. They were grateful that somebody was thinking of starting a school for their children. So, Cecilia, if you can tell me if they still have that level of involvement and commitment.
Yes, the parents are still committed because when they look at it, they see a savior. Rise Christian Academy is more like a savior to the community because it was very risky for the children to walk 12 kilometers to school, and the distance is too much. It's risky for children. So now that we have a school that's accommodating the infants, it's a relief to them, and they are committed. Most of the parents that we have at the school, of course, we still have some who are not yet who don't yet understand the importance of education, because here in Zimbabwe, there are communities, the different communities that we have determine the quality of education that the parent got, or the level of education they got to, and the level of education the parent got to also determines value education. So like in this community, most of these parents didn't go to school to upper levels. Most of them ended maybe at grade 7, and some of them were not even able to read when they went to school. So some of those parents are still, but we have some school, and those right now, like now we have 80 children at the school.
What
when
their
we
ages?
downsized, the ages from we have from 4 years to almost 8.
Okay.
Because some of the grade 2s are turning 8 this year.
Okay. So
yes.
Let's talk about the reason for starting with that age group, and the fact that their first experience with learning English is for learning how to read it, and then why it's important that they learn how to read and function in that language of English. Tameka, you want to talk about that first?
Yes, so I'll start with it. One of the things that I found very shocking when coming over here, and now I've been blessed to travel through 4 different countries in sub-Saharan Africa, is that even though each country has its indigenous language or its mother language, education and business is still being conducted in whoever they were colonized by. That's the language that still dominates business and education. So for the countries that I visited, a lot of them, it was English, and so what happens is for children who are in the village where everyone they're around is speaking to them in their indigenous language, once they get to standard 3 or 3rd grade, then they're expected to shift over to English. And now everything is being conducted in English. Well, as an educator, what you and Cecilia are aware of is the language acquisition continuum says first you hear it, then you speak, then you read it, then you write it.
Right.
So unfortunately, what happens is our classrooms over here, they go to only hearing their native language to then going to having to read and take tests in English. And so unfortunately, if they're not able to be successful, then that becomes a stopping point for our children over here that keeps them from matriculating down the education path. Well, what's the problem with that? You find out that there are really bright, intelligent young people here
Yes.
that just haven't mastered the English language or the French language, but definitely the countries I'm in, the English language. And so no matter how smart they are, if they're not able to show that in English, it becomes a stopping point. And what I realized, and we've been blessed that in Zimbabwe, we had partners who shipped a bunch of books over to Goromanzi for us. And Cecilia has shared some of those books with me here in Botswana. What you find out is most of the children don't get access to reading for fun. They're only reading in English inside of their textbooks. And depending upon where they are, they don't even have their own textbooks. If you remember when we visited the local school in Goromanzi, they had a couple of old books that the children had to share. Well, how do you develop a passion for reading if you never get to read socially? And so that becomes part of the continuum that says it's not that the children aren't capable. It's not that they're not literate. But if the measuring stick that we're using is English, then yes, that would cause an issue. But Cecilia, as someone who grew up there, can speak to it way better than I can.
Okay.
Yes, that's very true. Having grown up here in Zimbabwe and also being born at a community that's more like this one, I actually faced, from my personal experience as a child, it was really difficult, to get to learn a second language, which you have to start getting exposed to, especially during my time. I actually started getting exposed to the language at 7 years. So that was very difficult. But now, because of the early childhood education, the children are coming to school earlier at 4 years, some even at 3 years, they come to school. And what we usually do, what most educators do, is to make sure that we start introducing the language maybe through rhymes at ECD-A level, then at ECD-B level. We also do the same as we do our phonetics, so that they get exposed to the language a little bit, even though it will be difficult for them to actually grasp it, because at home they're going back to their native language. So it's really difficult for them to then understand the language well. Then when they get to grade 1, they actually have to start reading, the actual reading and the actual writing of the language. All the subjects, except for Shona. We actually, here in Zimbabwe, we do 6 languages, and the 6th language is the mother language. So out of the 5 languages that the 5 subjects that they do actually.
It's time for a commercial break. We'll be right back. Literacy is freedom, and we have a literacy crisis. Children should learn to read from pre-K to 3rd grade. They should practice reading from 4th to 6th grade, and they should read to learn beginning in 7th grade and continuing through 4th grade. This video is sponsored by Rico Nance and Chemistry Steak and Brunch House in Hyde Park, Chicago. Good afternoon, good morning.
Sorry, no, I meant to say we are doing 6 subjects.
6 subjects.
Sorry.
Okay.
It was 6 subjects. Yes.
Okay.
We do 6 subjects. Out of the 6, we have 1, which is Shona, the mother language.
Okay.
So the other 5 subjects are all in English.
Okay.
So a child has to understand English in order for him or her to pass these other languages. A barrier language, English language becomes sort of a barrier, even though when we do the subjects, when we are in the actual learning, we do it in the native language and also expose them to how it's said in English so that when they are now being tested, because it's more like the greatest measure of testing learners here is on reading and writing.
So
That's
I have
where
a question.
it focuses. Yes.
How do you get the children to think in English instead of thinking in Shona? Because we know literacy, as it pertains to English, involves you learning how to make inferences and think critically and draw conclusions. How do you teach them how to do that when their mother language that they speak at home is a whole completely different language? How do you shift that thinking in children? So I think I want Cecilia to speak first, how she does it in Zimbabwe, and Tameka, you're working at a school in Botswana. Explain to us how that's done there too.
All right. So what I actually do is I allow my learners to think in their mother language, because especially at an early age, it's difficult for me to actually tell them to think in English. But what I usually do is I allow them to think in their mother language, and then I make sure that I give them the key components that they need to know in English, the clues that they need to have in English. Those are the ones that I make sure they know. For example, let's say we are learning, it's a science topic, for example, about plants. So when we are learning that topic, what I do is I make sure that they know the keywords in English.
Okay.
That's what I know. I make sure they do. So when they know the keywords in English, when they hear a question, they know where the question is directed, especially when they see the keywords.
Okay.
And once they do that, as they answer also, they have to remember those keywords so that they can have an answer to that question. So it's early childhood education, at early childhood level, they don't really, for grade 1 and grade 2, they don't really construct like very long sentences to answer their questions. So they just need to know mostly the basics of the language so that they can answer. And then as they get to grade 3 going upwards, then they will have to start thinking critically in English now. And at that level, the mind would have matured a little bit, and with the exposure they would have gotten from ECDA to grade 2, it would be a little bit easier for them now to navigate into the language.
Okay. Okay. You're
Now,
doing it. Yes,
I was
please.
gonna say, can I just take a moment and really speak to the excellence of Teacher Cecilia? Because one of the things that we know is in America, when we have children who speak English as a second language, oftentimes when they're first brought into the school systems, we have what's known as dual language immersion, where there's one teacher in the class and they're speaking English, and there's one teacher in the class who's speaking Spanish. Because I was in Texas. So, there were a lot of Spanish teachers. And so that we definitely found helped students begin to bridge that gap, because they're able to hear it in their native language and they're able to hear it in the second language acquisition. But Cecilia, how does that take place inside of your classroom?
Okay. Oh, actually, I do the translation myself.
Okay. Because you speak both languages fluently.
I speak both languages. So when I speak both languages fluently, so what I do is when I'm teaching, I make sure that I explain it in Shona. Then after explaining it in Shona, then I tell them that in English, it's said then I say it also in English.
Okay.
So, and I make sure that I emphasize on the key points and the keywords.
Okay.
So that they
Okay.
understand those ones. Yes.
Okay. Okay.
I just wanted to say that before I tell you what I do here in Botswana, because the classroom that I work in here in Botswana, I actually have an assistant who goes into the classroom with me. Right now, I'm working with Standard 7 students. My students are anywhere from 11 to 16.
Okay.
And they're struggling learners, but they're passionate and they have a desire to learn. Trying to get them to think or process in English, I've only been with them for about 6 weeks, so it's still a work in progress. So basically what Teacher Rose and I do together is that thing that Teacher Cecilia does by herself.
Okay.
So I will say what I say in English, and then Rose will come behind me and she'll say it in Setswana. Now, the other thing that I'm fortunate to be able to do is I bring my technology with me, whether it's my phone, my tablet, or my laptop. And so if we're talking about something and I see that there's this confused look on my student's face, I'll be the first one to go on YouTube or a learning channel, you know, and find a video. Because again, we also understand that children learn either auditory, visual, hear, tactile, kinesthetic, very little with reading and writing. So I always try to add an extra modality to how I introduce the material when I'm working with my students so that they are able to grasp it. And here's the other thing that I do that my 7th graders love. I make fun of myself. And what do I mean by that? Because if I say a word, like we introduce words like habitat or den or mist or camel, and they don't know it in my language. But then when I show it, they're like, oh yeah, I get it. And so I'll make fun of myself because I'll remind them, like, I don't know Setswana. So if you said this word in Setswana, I would be looking clueless. So just because you don't know it in English yet does not equate to your level of intelligence. Just like you wouldn't look at me and think I'm unintelligent because I don't know it in Setswana. And I think that's one of the things that I would love to see take place. And I know that's a big ask for a large continent, is that children wouldn't be made to feel like they're intelligent because they don't know it in this. Here's what I found really shocking, Ima. You would be surprised, or maybe not, as to the number of people that I run into that will speak multiple languages fluently. They'll speak 4 or 5 different languages.
I'm not surprised.
English, and think about it. What do we know? English is one of the hardest languages to learn because, yes, we have 26 letters, but you have, 44 phonemes. And so this is this, except for if it's paired with this, and this says this, except for,
I'm not surprised at all about that because I have a friend who is from Haiti. She speaks several languages. She speaks the language the Haitians speak, and I don't know what that is. I forgot actually. And she speaks French, and she understands Spanish, and she understands Italian. And the reason why, she says, is because, and she speaks English, and she thinks in all of those languages. And when we're in Bible class, she's got her Bible from her original language. I am so sorry, I can't think of what that is right now. But she's got that Bible, and she's listening in English, and she's processing, but she is reading in her Bible from her original language. But she also speaks French fluently and Spanish. So, as a matter of fact, I used to be a principal of an alternative school, and she was my Spanish teacher and my French teacher, and the children spoke in English. So if a child is exposed to different languages early, which is why, Cecilia, I'm so happy that you have those 3 and 4 and 5-year-olds, because then when they're exposed to languages before age 12, then they can learn all the languages that you can expose them to. So I can
Yes.
understand
Yes,
why
yes.
someone can speak 6 different languages and understand in all of them. But we have
Yes.
to
I
start
actually
as
speak
early as
four.
possible.
Yes.
I actually speak 4 languages fluently. I
Okay.
learned the other 2 languages when I was in Form 1. That's when I started
Okay.
learning the other 2
First grade,
languages. I was
Form
18.
1 is first grade.
No,
Mm-mm.
Form 1 is actually
Like high school.
what grade is it? That's high school.
Oh, it's
Actually, I
high
was
school.
12. I
Oh,
was 14 years. Yes, I was 14 when I started learning the other 2
okay.
languages.
And
So
what
now I have
languages
4
are they?
languages.
You speak Shona,
Uh,
you speak English, and what else?
Ndebele and
Mm-hmm.
Chewa.
Okay.
Chewa is actually a language that's mainly spoken in Malawi. However, I also understand Nyanja and can also speak Nyanja, the one that's spoken
Okay.
in Zambia, and I can
Mm-hmm.
also communicate with people from Mozambique because of
Mm-hmm.
those of that
Wow.
language. So actually I can say 5 languages
Wow.
that I
That's
can
so
fluently
awesome.
speak in.
That
Yes.
is so
And also
awesome.
the other thing that I was thinking about when you were talking, Sister Tameka, you know, sometimes these learners, what I noticed, I have a special child in my class. I have 21 learners and one of them is a special child. Actually, I can say 2 of them are special children because the other one joined us last week. She's also a special child.
Okay.
Okay.
So these special children of mine, when we are doing our lessons orally, they participate so well and you see the level of intelligence that's in them.
Okay.
The only
Yeah.
challenge they have is putting it on paper.
Uh-huh.
And,
Yes.
now looking at the standard of testing that's used in my country, it's not fair for them
Mm-hmm.
because the standard of testing that's used in my country is writing. Now,
Mm-hmm.
if you ask him a question, he would definitely tell you the correct answer.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
But
Mm-hmm.
get him to write it down. He's not able to
Right.
answer questions. Whenever you write a question that leaves a blank and you tell him, may you please put the answer in the blank, you just copy and leave it like that.
Okay.
Yeah.
But he's so intelligent.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Now, Ima, I'm glad she brought that up because that's another thing that I'm realizing that causes deficits here is at this time there aren't certain systems in place
Yeah.
for children with neural differences.
Okay.
I was privileged to attend a meeting at the Ministry of Basic Education here in Botswana 2 weeks ago where they were talking about a desire to put scribes in place for students
Okay.
like the one that Cecilia is talking about, where
Mm-hmm.
yes, this child has an identified learning issue, but they're intelligent because all
Mm-hmm.
a scribe is doing is writing
And taking
what
the
the
notes.
child is saying.
Yeah, I have a
Exactly.
note taker for a couple of my students in my classes. They have to request a note taker.
Absolutely.
And the note taker is there just to write down everything that happens in the class.
Exactly. And
Yeah.
so to me, when we begin to level the playing field for all of our learners,
Mm-hmm.
and I'll share an image with you. I didn't think about it beforehand, and maybe you can embed it in the video. It's that image of where you see the 3 children, and one is with them stacked on top of the crates, and one is this. And
Yeah,
so
I remember that
basically, it's
image. Yeah. Equity.
liberation,
Equity.
exactly.
Mm-hmm.
And so often it was just equity or equality, but I
Right.
saw a new one that it's equity, equality, liberation, and
Oh,
something else. And I was
okay.
like, wow,
Okay,
because
share
it
that with
shows,
me. Yeah.
yes, it shows you that it's not just about removing the barriers,
Mm-hmm.
but it's not about giving things to, give everybody the same view. It's not
Right.
just about removing
Mm-hmm.
the but you remove the barriers, but then also put the systems in place
Mm-hmm.
for individuals to be their best selves. And
You
for
know what?
me,
Mm-hmm.
literacy, yes,
That
ma'am.
that that is so amazing because that they're thinking about putting systems in place that will
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
remove those barriers because that's the key.
Yes.
And
Yes.
very few school systems are talking about putting those systems in place. So I think if you can share that image with me, I will share it at the end of our discussion. And our time is up right now. I am so
Wow.
sorry.
Oh,
This discussion did not go as I had planned it to be, but it's so much richer than what I had planned. And so it also tells me that I need to talk to you ladies again, and we need to
yes,
record
Yes.
please.
again,
Yes.
so that we can continue to talk about the different barriers in education. And I think I want to find someone else from another um, country also that can speak to us. So we have 4 here on the screen next time. I'll work on that.
Okay.
But I enjoy our conversation. I've learned a lot. I'm sure our listeners have learned a lot too. And if you both can tell us, if you receive donations of cash or things, how would that happen? How can people send you stuff?
Okay. For me, I am in Botswana. I do have an organization called Sowing Seeds for Success. And so if people are interested, I would ask them to send an email to me and I would send them the direct donation information for my banking here in Botswana.
And what is your email
But
address?
email address is sowing seeds, SOWING dot Tameka, TAMEKA @gmail.com.
Okay, and when I air this, I will make sure that that email address flashes across the screen.
Okay.
Cecilia, if someone
Can
wanted
I
to help your school, how can they do that?
Okay. If someone wants to assist the school, we accept donations in cash or in any other materials that may be there. The best way to reach me is also through my email. I think that would be the best. Then we can share the details on how best the donations can be sent. And
Okay.
the email address is Cecilia Cerenje @gmail.com. Cecilia, that's CECILIA, Cirenje, CHIRENJE @gmail.com.
So if both of you can send me your email addresses in our WhatsApp, and then I'll make sure that when this airs, it flashes across the screen. I am so
absolutely?
Ma'am.
sorry that I have to stop our conversation now, but our
Can I
time
ask,
is up, and we've done. Tamika, you had a comment.
have one ask? If you can edit this in some kind of way, as I'm getting ready to open up a community center here in Botswana, I
Mm-hmm.
really want to put a nice library in the community center for the village. So my goal is to secure between 500 and 1,000 books for the library. So for
Okay.
me, more than anything, I'm not even asking for financial donations. I'm
Mm-hmm.
asking for people who are willing to buy books. Maybe we can link that website that you gave me, Ima,
Book
you
bundle.
know,
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
and put the link for book bundle where people can
Mm-hmm.
go in and buy 40, 50 books.
Mm-hmm.
They
Yeah.
don't have to be
And they're
buy
inexpensive
level
on book
reader
bundle.
books. Exactly.
It seems
Level
like
reader books, chapter.
that's the same need for Zimbabwe, so that the children can have books so they
Yes.
can learn how to read for fun and
Yes.
read books that interest
Yes.
them. It seemed like if we
Yes.
could
Yes,
focus
please.
on one need, and that is books.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yes, please.
Okay.
That would be awesome. And
Okay.
when they get to Tameka, they can easily get to me.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Fantastic. All right.
Yes.
Thank you all for joining Education Nation. And we must do this again because we did not
Yes.
talk about everything we needed to have talked about. So we will definitely do this again. So send me images. Also, I want to show
Yes.
when this airs, I want to show as many images as possible. Thank you so
Okay.
much. Are there any last words from either of you?
You may go
Cecilia,
ahead,
you're
Tameka.
first.
Okay, all right. That's okay. Thank you so much for having me. It has been an honor. And I'm actually looking forward to us talking again, because definitely there is a lot to talk about,
It is.
especially with my experience, the experience that I have had here.
Mhm.
It's really amazing, and we thank the Lord for seeing us through.
Okay. All right. Tameka,
Yes.
last words.
I just want to again, like Cecilia, say thank you for this invitation. I was so excited to be a part of this conversation, knowing both of you ladies, knowing your passion for children, and seeing the effect that the Father is allowing us to have globally, and seeing whether you're in urban area like Chicago or a rural village like Chifumbi, Goromanzi, children are all the same.
Yeah.
Parents are all the same.
Yeah.
Children want to learn. Parents want the best for their children. And
Yeah.
if we can stop seeing in terms of you versus me or borders,
Mhm.
we can genuinely be that conduit that the world needs. I know there's this talk about AI taking over jobs, but AI can't take over if we're actually using the gifts and talents that the Father has given us. And
Yes.
literacy opens doors in a way. It takes your imagination into places that
Yes.
allows you to be creative.
Yes. All
So
right.
thank you. Thank you.
Fantastic. Yay.
Great day. It's your girl Asada here to introduce a new female solution show called Asada Says. That's right. Every month we're going to talk about everything I am, from cryptocurrency and financial security to good health and parenting strategies. Come on and talk with me every Tuesday morning from 7 a.m. to 8 a.m. And let's do that thing the way Asada says it should be done. See you then. Peace, right here on the Female Solution.
Peace and love. I'm Michelle Renee, host of Education Nation, live on the Female Solution Global Network every second and fourth Sunday from 12 p.m. to 1 p.m. The intention of Education Nation is to raise awareness about the literacy crisis and to offer information to combat the problem. The goal is to awaken an army of reading coaches and mentors. You will experience guests who are doing their part in the community to ensure youth in their circles are reading and thinking critically. I look forward to serving you in this capacity. Literacy is freedom, and Education Nation will offer information and strategies to help ensure our young people stay free. This is an image from a parent meeting in Zimbabwe. You see, they showed up. This is the same parent meeting in all three of these images from a different view. I just wanted you to see how many parents there were in that room. Look how large that circle is. Literacy is freedom, and we have a literacy crisis. Children should learn to read from pre-K to third grade. They should practice reading from fourth to sixth grade, and they should read to learn beginning in seventh grade and continuing through fourth grade. This video is sponsored by Rico Nance and Chemistry Steak and Brunch House in Hyde Park, Chicago. Forgive us for the technical issues happening today. It's okay. We're going to get through this. Next clip. The next clip, this is the same parent meeting from a different angle. When you think about the definition for parental involvement, these parents understood the mission. When they showed up with high interest, with gratitude, and ready to learn what we needed for them to do in order to help. They know the importance of education, and they know that it is the thing that will help to save their children from poverty and to improve the quality of their lives. Next clip. Look how many parents there are. These parents understand the mission. Now, I understand the mission. I have been in parent meetings in Chicago for the last almost 50 years. And I have been in these meetings as a parent, as a teacher, as an administrator, and on occasion, just as an observer. I have never seen this many parents to show up to support the education of their children. Next image. This next one is not actually an image, it's a video, and I wanted to show you the video of those parents. Okay, it's not available. So the next
we have
image.
A literacy crisis. Michelle Renee is creating solutions for families. There are key characteristics of good books for children. They should have rich visuals and straightforward wording. Good books for children need a compelling narrative with obvious lessons or morals. There should be dialogue in different font sizes and glossaries. These are essential qualities of books that will encourage children to read.
From long distances to support the education of their young people. This is a parent meeting in March. They show up, and we need to do better. So with that, we are done. And I hope you all got something out of this episode. I hope you learned something. If you like to donate books, the school that I featured in Botswana, they need books. If you'd like to donate books, contact Tameka Holcomb in sowerseeds.tameka@gmail. If you'd like to donate books to Cecilia in Zimbabwe Africa, send an email to Cecilia Cerenje@gmail. And that is Cecilia, Cecilia, Cerenje, CHIRENJE@gmail. If you're watching from YouTube, then I will put those email addresses in the description. Send books from bookbundle.com. I'll put that in the description too. That you can usually get a book for $1. I buy a box of books for the little library I have in front of my house, and I can spend $50 and I get 50 books. Sometimes I get more, depending on what kind of sale is going on. They're usually $1 a book, and this is cheaper from even getting the books at a thrift store. I used to get books from thrift stores, but now they've even gone up. So the bookbundler.com. It will also be in the description of this link. With that, we are done. Have a wonderful month. I'll see you on the second Sunday in April.
We've come to the end of our show today. If you missed any broadcasts, go to our website for the audio and video archives at www.thefemalesolution.com. On behalf of our team of radio hosts, I'd like to thank all of you who participated in today's discussions. And to our global family joining us from all around the world, we say thank you. To our family in China, xie xie. India, zhanyavad. Japan, arigato. Korea, kamsamnida. Russia, spasiba. Germany, danke. Poland, dziękuję. France, merci. Spain, gracias. Italy, grazie. Egypt, shukran. Ghana, madasi. Nigeria, eshe. South Africa, ngiyabonga. Senegal, jareh. Kenya, asante. Israel, toda. Pakistan, shukriya. Afghanistan, tashakur. Saudi Arabia and Palestine, shukran. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuhu. Thank you, and may peace be upon you and the mercy of God and God's blessings.